I made a video about this last year, and then there was no update to it until like very recently, and you are going to love this update. So to make sense of it, I got to tell you what happened last year, okay? So last year in the city of Toledo, Iowa, there's a local fire department, relatively rural area, and this atheist was driving on the road. He was passing the fire department, and he noticed there was a nativity scene outside the fire department. You could see it right here. Like, it's straight up just Christian. I'll remove myself so you could see the whole thing. It's just a Christian nativity scene, but why the hell is it in front of a fire department? It has no business being in front of a fire department. So the atheist who saw it, his name is Justin Scott, he knows that's not allowed. So basically, he contacted the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and FFRF sent a letter to the city basically saying, you guys, you can't have that up there. The law says very clearly the government cannot promote Christianity like that. If you want to have a nativity scene out front, whether it's a courthouse, city hall, a fire department, you have to have either more than Christianity represented, like you can't just have Christian iconography out there, or you can have an open forum and people can apply to put up their displays, whatever they are. So FFRF sent the city this letter, and to his credit, Justin Scott took a pretty magnanimous approach about this. He said, I don't think there was any ill intent by the city of Toledo. They probably just didn't know there was anything wrong with this. I'll show you from a local newspaper. This is what Justin said to the reporter. You know, the Supreme Court ruled cities can put nativity scenes up as long as there are non-religious symbols sprinkled in there, so it's not so heavy on religion. It doesn't need to come down, but it needs to be improved upon. My goal was not to take it down, which again is a very nice thing for him to say, because I think it should be taken down. But Justin was like, I'm not asking for that. I just want them to play by the rules. So what did the city do? What did the fire department do? They actually modified their display a little bit. They ended up changing it up. There's the original nativity right there. But then if you go, they added that to the display last year. It's Santa, it's a reindeer. Those things are not inherently Christian. They're secular. Is that enough to make the whole thing a secular display? I would argue that's still all a promotion of Christianity, but it kind of did the trick, right? It's not just Christianity being promoted anymore. But this is what happened last year. It was a silly, stupid thing. Not really a controversy. No one was trying to get the fire department in trouble. They fixed it up to some extent, and then everyone forgot about it, right? No, because that wasn't the story. The story for me was what a local pastor decided to say about that whole incident last year. The pastor's name is Adam Todd, and he runs a place called Solid Rock Bible Church. So on Christmas Eve last year, Adam Todd was so mad at this atheist, Justin Scott, for what he did. And he claimed that this modified display was part of a long-term agenda by atheists to just destroy Jesus. So I'm going to play for you a clip from last year's sermon of Adam Todd. Specifically, this goes for a while. It's a couple minutes, and I play a few different clips. But just listen to how insane this gets.
I'm going to bring it up later in the sermon. I'll bring it up right now. You know the coward that wanted to take the nativity down here at the fire station. When they asked him for a comment, I never intended for nobody to take it down. BS. That's what that is. A liar. I never intended for them to have to take it down. Sure you did. You just wanted to cause problems. But you're going to act like it was a noble. You never meant no harm. Sure you did. You act noble, but you have evil in your hearts. And out of town, evil man sticks his nose somewhere it had no place, just to demean Christ. He doesn't care about Santa. He just wants Santa to be up there to make a mockery of the nativity, to demean it. So he can go around saying, it's just two imaginary fairy tales now. That's why he's around. He sees it as a victory because he can put an imaginary creature, Santa, beside our nativity. And in his mind, he's won because he's just demeaned and defaced our nativity. You know, next year, I told my family, by next year, we need to have us something that would fit in, same style, to go with our nativity. We ought to have over here, lurking in the shadows, King Herod with a knife, looking to kill baby Jesus, and then tell everybody that's the representation for atheists. That way we're all inclusive, we represent everybody. And we can represent atheists by having King Herod over here. We can represent Satanists by having King Herod over here trying to stab little baby Jesus, because that's all that's going on. I mean, I'm dead serious. We ought to do that. King Herod has a place in every nativity, and he represents the atheists and the cowards and the Satanists, because all they're trying to do is kill Christ.
There you go. That describes all of you, apparently. By the way, chef's kiss to his atheist voice, which you know he's perfected over time. Like, really? All right. But that's the true spirit of Christmas right there, right? He said a nativity needs to have a depiction of King Herod trying to kill Jesus, which represents all of us who just wanted government officials to like follow the law. I don't know. It's weird. I should just point out here, if you're not familiar with the King Herod story, basically King Herod wanted to kill baby Jesus, could not find baby Jesus because Mary and Joseph left the area. So instead of going after Jesus, King Herod just killed all kids under the age of 2 in Bethlehem, hoping he would capture Jesus along the way. But Jesus avoided his wrath. So I'm not really sure why you think having Herod there would make a big difference. I would also point out that if you have baby Herod, if you have King Herod in the display, that actually wouldn't satisfy atheists either, because adding a character in Christian fiction to an entire display full of Christian fiction still makes it Christian fiction. And I don't think this guy understands that. So anyway, that's what happened last year. So now I have an update for you. Are you ready for this? As far as I can tell, there is not a nativity scene in front of the fire department this year, but Adam Todd, that pastor you just saw, has a nativity scene out in front of his church, and that's fine. That is legal, but I want to show you what he posted on social media about all this because it is funny. Here's what he posted on Facebook. Are you ready for this? Bible verse. Okay, he says at the top, you may notice a new member in our nativity this year. We're pleased to announce we are representing atheists this year. The atheists want to be included in the nativities and Bible readings in Toledo. Side note, no, we aren't. No, we don't. We don't want any part of this. So we included them this year. Herod is the perfect representation of atheists, and he's a very real part of the Christmas account in Scripture. Herod wanted to destroy Jesus, ... Many times it seems to me that atheists try to appear genuine as if they just want to practice religious freedom, when in reality, they have very ulterior motives. Oh no, where did that go? Let me bring that back for a second here. I don't know why that disappeared. But basically, he said every nativity ought to have a Herod to describe. There we go. Every nativity ought to have a Herod to remind us Christians that still today, there is an enemy out there whose real goal is to kill and destroy Christ. Okay, so you know I wanted to see what this nativity looked like. Are you ready to see this nativity? You know you are. Here's the nativity. I'll remove myself. And you're looking at that outside his church. I don't know. That looks normal and fine. Nothing weird about that. In fact, you have to zoom in pretty. That's as far as I can go. And you could see that just behind the centerpiece to the right, you have a depiction of King Herod. And I know what you're thinking. This is sad. I wish we could see a better version of that. Don't worry. I will zoom in for you here. Here's a different picture of that King Herod display. You're going to love this. You guys. There's King Herod wearing his atheist crown. There we go. There's the knife in his right hand. He has to wear Herod on his, whatever you want to call that, top, because otherwise no one else would know that's Herod, because it's not a very good depiction. What else we got here? Dude, the dude is packing. I guess thanks, Pastor. I think that's a compliment. I'm not sure why he's not really wearing pants, but all right. Do you see the belt buckle? That is the symbol for Planned Parenthood, which very nice touch. That's you thought this one through. I'm not sure that depicting us like unibrow Jason Momoa is really the worst way to get back at us. I don't know. I kind of want this display at my house. I don't want it to be outside the nativity scene. If this man has a GoFundMe to raise money for more of these, I'm just saying the answer is not no. But this is what this guy thinks is going to scare people off and really stick it to those atheists. Hilarious. I mean, it is a pretty badass depiction, right? And it also, I'm going to go back for a second to the full nativity that he had there, because when you look at the full scene, look at what this means. This means if anyone's taking a picture of the nativity scene, I'm going to just put this in here right now. It's going to be Herod with that high voice. Yeah, it is. Adam Todd has the voice for Herod all picked out, and you can't unhear that. But if you took a picture of this nativity scene, Herod's front and center. It's like atheists are photobombing this nativity, and we didn't even have to ask permission for it. We didn't even have to try to get that in there. He's doing us a favor, which is a weird thing for a pastor to do. I'm not quite sure the strategy is working out here, but okay. I just want to reiterate, no one was asking for this. No one was saying atheists need to be in nativity scenes. What Justin Scott requested last year is that if a government outlet is going to put up a nativity, they have to make it secular in a way. They have to make it inclusive, whether it's through an open forum or by depicting more than just Christianity. We didn't say you need to have atheists in there. No one really gives a damn about Jesus-centric nativity scenes on church property or some dude's front lawn. I don't care what you all do. And no atheist group has ever demanded Santa or reindeer or Baphomet or whatever you want on like some church property. No one cares. You do you. And there's no ulterior motive there. But the government should not be picking sides when it comes to matters of faith. And honestly, as for killing Christ, I'm telling you, as the keeper of the list of atheist priorities, that one's very low on the priority list. You know, also, it's been done. Why are we repeating the past? I got better things to do. I want to try something new this time. And honestly, if I wanted to hurt Jesus, there is nothing I could do that is worse for Jesus than everything Donald Trump has done to the religion over the past decade. It is funny, though, how this ignorance-based belief that atheists are out to destroy Jesus has just been on this pastor's mind for over a year now. Justin Scott actually wrote on Facebook, "Looks like I've lived rent-free in Pastor Todd's head the past year." Which is true, because I hadn't even thought about it for nearly a year now. I did ask that atheist, Justin Scott, what he thought of the Herod display. And what he told me, I think, is worth hearing. He told me he is surprised that this pastor thinks atheists are going to be offended. Imagine, this is Justin speaking, imagine if he had spent the time creating the display, helping at a local food bank, or making a real difference in the community, instead of focusing on a group of Americans who have every right to participate in our secular government, which Pastor Todd may have forgotten is guided by a godless constitution. So it's amazing how the war on Christmas is raging, and we didn't even do anything this time. So I thought you would get a kick out of the Herod display seen outside a Toledo, Ohio church near you, I guess. But honestly, if anyone's selling that Herod display, I would buy a couple. All right, what questions we got there while I pull up the next story? Oh, thank you for that donation. Alan, glad to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Elizabeth. Planned Parenthood buckle sent me. Yes, it's so good. That whole display is perfect. King Herod wasn't even an atheist. If anything, he was either Hebrew or believed in the Roman pantheon. Thank you for pointing that out, Spencer. That's right. If you wanted to depict an atheist, I could. There are plenty of atheists I would not like to see up there. Honestly, if you put up a cardboard display of like Richard Dawkins as if that guy represented me, I would be more upset by that than this depiction of Herod Momoa, whatever you want to call him. Isn't the point of the nativity scenes to represent figures who were present in the story at birth? Adding Herod is some wild fan fiction. That is true, though I got to tell you something about the entire nativity story. That is nothing but fan fiction. It's just really popular fan fiction. It's the twilight, if you will, of the biblical era. Or is the 50 Shades of Grey of the biblical era. Sorry, I get all my fictions mixed up. The fact that he put this in his display and it looks like this is a win for atheists. No kidding. Inadvertently building us up to be badass. I love it. No one asked for it, but we all needed Momoa Unibrow Falsetto Herod. Yes. Every year. If all of you need that in your front lawns, go make your own. People will understand, apparently, because this pastor thinks everyone's going to see that and get it. Just have Jesus and Herod. It's all you need. Why are atheists the one accused of wanting to kill Jesus when God needed to torture him to death? Thank you for pointing that out, Steve. Very true. We're not the ones that crucified the guy. We're the ones that stood in the back saying this isn't happening right now. We're not the bad guys.